Welcome to the FARcast here at Chadron State College. I'm Daniel Binkard with my co-host, Alex Helmbrecht, as always. And we're here today with another Helmbrecht, Brittany Helmbrecht, Dr. Brittany Helmbrecht. And I want to welcome you to the podcast. I know you and Alex have never met before. Right. Just a coincidence that you share the same last name.
Yeah, there's so many Helmbrechts in the world.
Oh, there are. So, Brittany, you are an assistant professor in the HPER department, commonly known around CSC as Hyper. Is that still an accurate thing? Should we keep saying that?
Well, yes, of course.
All right, very good. So, Brittany, tell us a little bit of background. Where did you grow up, and how did you end up here at CSC?
I'm originally from Michigan, and Michiganders, they use their hand. So I was from here.
Very handy.
Grand Rapids, Michigan, a little town north of that. And I went to college in Michigan. And when I was kind of done with my undergrad, I was looking for graduate assistant positions within the recreation field. And I found one for Kearney, Nebraska. And so I had to Google it, and then I had to zoom out like 70 times to figure out where Nebraska was. But I went to Kearney for my master's degree, and I had a friend there who, like a year or so later, was like, man, you have to meet this guy in Chadron. He's so great. And I was like, whatever, it's Chadron. That's just what kind of the attitude people at Kearney had. And here I am. I've been here for 9 years.
Is it really 9 years now? Wow.
This is the 9th year.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
Time flies.
Yeah. So here I am.
All right. Well, good to have you here. And it only took us 9 years to get you on the podcast.
Yes, exactly. I've been dying to get on, but something about like nepotism or something.
We want to make it. We're above board on all this.
Well, you do owe me $5 because of the bet we had. Brittany would point to her hand to explain where she was from Michigan in the first 30 seconds of the podcast, and she did. So,
well, you guys wrote
nice.
The question, so that, I think you set me up there.
Yeah, we did.
I'm just kind of shaking my head at myself for saying that's handy. And I said it just straight-faced, and after I said it, I was, wow, that's quite the pun there. Very good. Very good. So I feel accomplished for the day.
Very good.
So you mentioned Central Michigan. The proud home of the Chippewas, Fire Up Chips,
Fire
right?
Up Chips.
Talk a little bit about your undergraduate experience, because I think it's probably a little bit different there on a much larger scale than most of your students experience here. And then how did that kind of lead to where you advocate now for first-generation students here?
So Central Michigan, when I was there, I think the enrollment was 25,000 to 28,000 students that I was going to school with. And so to me then, it didn't seem that out of place because I graduated with like 500 students in my high school class. But it was you could be very anonymous at a big university. So I went to lectures with like 150 students, or if I had like smaller classes, you're in, you don't really have the same professors all the time. And like I said, you can be anonymous. You have to hold yourself really accountable, I think, in a larger scale. So I was a first-generation student, meaning that I'm the first in my family to go to college. And I didn't really know then that I was a first-gen student or like what that meant. So now that I'm an instructor and now that I understand that, if I could go back, I think there's so many different things that I would have like known how to do differently, or like situations I wouldn't have put myself in, like maybe financially. So I think right now I'm just an advocate to try to help people not make those same mistakes. And just kind of from my experience helping people so they don't have to go through that.
Yeah,
that's great.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So for our viewers, and actually to remind me too, what sort of services do we have here at CSC for first-gen students?
Well, there's Project Strive and TRIO, and those are both grant-operated. So if you are a low-income or first-gen student, they have additional support services through those programs. And so you have access to more counseling. They do different programming that really just helps students kind of understand what college is like, how to, go through financial aid, how to meet with your advisor, and the really important things that you might miss if you didn't have someone at home telling you that these are important.
Great. Excellent.
Mm-hmm. Brittany, I kind of have a follow-up question. Since you went to a large university, did you have much interaction with the faculty in your discipline, or have an advisor? Did you talk to these people? I mean, because I know, just obviously because I see you every day and talk to you, I know one of the things you really love about your job is that you get to advise students and you get to create these and nurture these relationships that are really fulfilling. Did that occur there?
Not really. So all the general education courses, like, I took anatomy with probably 100 students. I took chemistry and biology and all those different classes. And you could just like show up or not show up. Like there just no one there, And I think even though the professors lectured, they weren't the ones to like grade the assignments or anything like that. So there wasn't a lot of connection in those classes. Within my major classes, so I had a couple different majors in college. I started off athletic training, and so there was kind of a little cohort there where the professors, really got to know their students because there wasn't as many of them. But when I moved over to the journalism department and public relations, I think just based on the numbers, you kind of get lost in those different things. And so it's not a real like personal environment, but I also, maybe from being a first gen or maybe just, from being timid, I didn't reach out to my advisors. I think the only time I ever saw my advisor was to sign my major. And then I switched my major like 4 times. So I saw my advisor 4 times during my college career. But everything was kind of do it your own. And it was old school too. So we would have to like set our alarms and then get on our computers after looking through our catalog to decide, what classes we needed to take. And we just like hoped that we did it right on our own.
Yeah.
So
that's one of the things I'm really happy to see just throughout my career here, because I kind of reflect back on my time when I was a student as well. There's so many more opportunities for students to get the help that they need and to fully understand and realize what's going on. So I'm really thankful for that those changes have happened just in my short time here.
Well, it sometimes feels like it's a broken record for us, where we're constantly talking about that one-on-one opportunity that students have with the faculty members, and it's such a valid thing. It's so important to let them know about it. If they've had any experiences with a larger school where that isn't the case, or that they might not be expecting that, it's like, that's the way it is here.
Yeah.
It really helps.
I really love that. I mean, even I've had the opportunity to advise students who were not even assigned to me as an advisor, just by getting to know them in class or just kind of being open so they can come ask me questions. And I just, I really like helping in that aspect. Like, you don't need to take extra classes, you can hit this, you don't need to do this, like finding what works best and getting students into the right field.
Yeah.
Just, it helps in the long run, and I like doing that. So,
well, tell us a little bit about, did you expect to end up in teaching, and how did that come about, and what sort of courses do you teach right now?
So when I went to Kearney, let me back up. So I went from athletic training to pre-physical therapy. That was kind of my goal all along, was to be a physical therapist. And then halfway through my undergraduate, I was like, man, I really don't want to do this. So I switched over to my other kind of passion at that time, which was journalism. But then I didn't want to be a journalist. And so I was like, well, I'll just do public relations, so concentration. So I have a journalism degree with a public relations concentration and a psychology minor. And in my senior year, I was working in campus recreation. So I worked a lot with intramurals and the facility. We had this huge wellness rec center. And I figured out that I could do that as an occupation. And so that's what brought me to Kearney. I got a graduate assistant position working at UNK in their intramurals department. And when I came here, I was really trying to I was kind of at a stopping point, or I guess like a restarting point. I knew after Kearney that I didn't want to go into campus recreation. It had some different hours that I just didn't think were conducive to the life I wanted to live. And so I tried to reflect on the things that I really liked best about what I did there, and it was the teaching aspect. Yep. So I would teach students how to officiate, and I'd go out and help them to, be the best intramural officials ever. And so I thought about going back for education, and then a job opened up in the hyper department like 4 days before the 2015 school year, and I got it. So I started teaching then, and I got hired full-time that following year. And that's all she wrote.
Okay.
Here I am.
Yeah.
Yes. And so now I teach, I kind of get to like bring all my worlds together. So I teach fitness activities. I teach health and wellness, a lot of sections of health and wellness. I teach a capstone called Sports Reporters, which is a sports journalism class. And I also, and right now I'm teaching community and environmental health. And I also used to teach sports officiating and team sports.
Okay.
Yeah.
The whole spectrum.
So the whole sports
Yeah.
spectrum, yes. Yeah.
Awesome.
So kind of within that sports vein, you're in your first year as being the faculty athletic representative for CSC.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about what is that role, and then maybe what are some of the goals that you have within that role?
So as a faculty athletic rep, I am kind of the connection between athletics and faculty. And so that incorporates like, being that connection between the students if they're having any issues with other faculty members, or the faculty if they're having issues with athletics for any reason. So I'm kind of that go-between, or I guess like representative on both sides. And I'm really excited to be in the position. I feel like it's a great opportunity for me to be an advocate for the student athletes. We see a lot of them in the hyper department, and where I teach essential studies, I feel like I see a lot of them already as well. So one of my goals is to assist with kind of the stress management aspect of things, like the trying to help student athletes, especially with their stress. And so one of the goals I have is to bring in a speaker that might relate to that. So I'm trying right now to bring in a sports psychologist to kind of help students just maybe like see what that's like. I always reference Ted Lasso, if you've ever watched that show. And like everyone was so excited when the sports psychologist was there to help with the yips and different things that might happen. So that's kind of one of my goals in the short term, is to see what we can do there.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, so in addition to all this campus involvement, you're also heavily involved in the community of Chadron and are expanding our hiking and biking trails. Tell us a little bit about your involvement and all that outdoor work.
Yes, so I am the chair of the Northwest Nebraska Trails Association, and we, like Daniel said, promote, maintain, build non-motorized recreational trails in our area. And yeah, it's pretty exciting to be part of. We do maintenance on trails. A big project we're working on right now is the Cowboy Trail and the Cowboy Trail connection. So we are trying to get, this long distance bike trail done. And I don't know, hopefully that'll be, there's some really fun things going on with that soon.
So some background for the listeners and viewers.
Yes.
What's the Cowboy Trail?
Oh, yes. Okay. So the Cowboy Trail is a rail. It's called a Rails 2 trail. So it used to be an old rail line. They converted it to a rail or a bike trail. And it's 321 miles when completed all across the state. It starts in Norfolk, and when it's done, it'll end in Chadron. And it's, used for biking and walking. It is completed from Norfolk to about Valentine, and then there's a section completed from Gordon to Rushville. And our group is trying to complete it from, I guess, Hay Springs into Chadron.
Okay.
The Cowboy Trail connection then is what's going to move the trail further. So technically the Cowboy Trail, which is owned by Game and Parks, it ends about 6 miles outside of town. So the Cowboy Trail connection will be a trail that we're going to build in the right-of-way of the rail line that's still there, and we will bring it all the way into Chadron. So,
Great.
yeah, so our entire community can, use that trail. People who come in, they can actually station themselves in downtown Chadron and jump on it there instead of, off the highway that way.
Whenever that gets completed, it'll be a fantastic addition.
Yeah, there's actually 2 bills going through the legislature right now that would provide funding for construction and maintenance of the Cowboy Trail. So that
That'd
would
be
be
huge.
Yep.
really, really exciting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know we definitely see a lot of use on the trails over here on campus. So
Yep, the more the better.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You forgot to mention Bike Walk Nebraska. Talk a little bit about that.
Oh, yes. I am a board member of Bike Walk Nebraska. It's an advocacy group for, the support of safe alternative transportation. And it's mostly, it's not mostly focused on the east side, but they're doing a lot of really cool projects on the east side with bike lanes and improving different trails over there. But they are like a huge part of the legislative bills that are going through right now. So, our director, Julie, she does a fantastic job just like promoting everything like for the whole state of Nebraska. So even though I'm way over here, I feel really excited to be included in that statewide
great
initiative. Yeah.
Excellent. So you recently received your EDD.
DHED.
Right, DHED.
What
Sorry.
does all that
It's
mean?
so unique, I know.
The Doctor of Health Education, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, my fault. What was that experience like? And then tell us a little bit about your dissertation. I know you recently gave a Graves lecture on it, but give us the rundown.
So, to be a tenured faculty, you need to have a doctorate. And when I got the job here, I started to find programs, and I found one based on a recommendation from a former faculty who worked in my department. And I started it. It was online through A.T. Still University. And it was, I don't know, it's done, so it's hard. That's like really the most important thing. But, it was a good experience. It taught me a lot about teaching and assessment, but also health promotion and the different things that I incorporate in my job right now, different learning technologies, and that my dissertation was called Predictors of Stress in First-Generation College Students. And we looked at different things that might, just naturally make people or make first-generation students a little bit more stressed. Those being self-esteem, locus of control, so like how they, give control or how they place it. Oh gosh, I can't even remember.
This is where Daniel will link to the Graves lecture series.
Oh, yeah.
It's picture in picture.
We've got it online. So
Please
yeah.
like and subscribe to my Graves lecture series.
Thank you. I think you're the first person on the podcast to do that.
Yes.
Put in a plug.
Like and
Yeah,
subscribe. But yes, it looked at different predictors of stress, and there were a couple of things that we could tell for first-generation students. The higher the self-esteem, the lower the stress. And if they use different coping styles, so if they did, I think it was emotion-focused coping, where they, sought out counseling services and, talking with people about their stresses, that helped to decrease their stress. Mm-hmm. So that was actually published in the Journal of something. Can't even figure it out. I just take that part out.
She didn't do it for the accolades.
I did not. It was published, and it's really exciting. The Journal of Student Affairs. There you go.
There we go.
I knew that. Yeah, it's really exciting that it's published, and I'm so excited to be done with it. So that's, I think, my biggest achievement.
Well, and I
have
to commend you as not just a colleague, but also as your husband, that you're able to do that while also having 2 kids and having a family.
Yes.
So congratulations to
it's
you.
been a busy few years here, hasn't it?
It was a heavy lift. It was a lot of work.
It has. I turned in my dissertation on March 15th, 2020. So my dissertation is as old as the pandemic. And then I had a baby.
It feels
2
like
years,
it's 80 years old.
Yeah. And then I had a baby 2 weeks later. So just from one adventure to the next.
Yeah.
But yeah, couldn't have done it without my family. So, and all the support, our department is great, and resources on campus were really helpful with helping me get it set up and helping me get it all done. And it takes a village to get it all done. So I can't take complete credit for it myself, but.
Well, congratulations. Yeah, I'm sure it's absolutely fantastic to have it
Clearly,
done.
I am trying to put it in the rear view.
Nothing wrong with that.
It's done. You're
no
done.
longer taking up space in my brain. So.
I just have a few questions about some of the numbers you're referencing in your dissertation.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm kidding.
So this is this is statistical analysis I don't remember using.
So we'll shift gears and talk about group fit and yoga. So you're a licensed group fit instructor, and you teach yoga. In fact, we had a college relations. It was like one of those. If you guys have ever seen Dr. Zhivago when they're marching through the wilderness in the dead of winter, as a team building exercise, Alex drug the whole college relations staff in and had us do yoga, which you led.
Yes.
So,
It's exactly, blood alone moves the wheels of history.
So we've been through that. So where did your enjoyment of all that come from?
Well, just for starters, like that was my stress management responsibility to you guys, knowing that you had to spend an entire day with your boss.
We appreciate that.
Yes, you're
That's why
welcome.
you do yoga all the
Yes,
time.
that is why. I got into yoga a handful of years ago. Tara Ledbetter, she's a Chadron, well, no longer Chadron resident, but she was teaching yoga classes, and I just decided to go get started and loved it. It's really good for like strength building, but for me, it was just like so stress relieving being able to do it once a week. And I think I started out doing it at the end of the week, so I was like, all my stresses just kind of went away being able to do that. And then I just started doing it after I went to the South Dakota Yoga Conference one year. I started adding it into my fitness and wellness classes, and just kind of it went from there. And then people started asking me to do sessions of it, and so I've just kind of just run with it. There's different types of yoga. The one that I really love to do and I love to teach is the restorative yoga, which is that just deep breathing, trying to relax, just moving really slowly, stretching out your upper back from always sitting at the computer, but just kind of that easy stuff. So that's kind of my specialty there.
Yeah. And that's also featured in the Graves lecture presentation that Brittany did.
It is, yes. Chair yoga.
Covered everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you don't necessarily need to have a lot of space to do
Right.
this, right?
Yeah, of course not. Nope.
That's good stuff.
We could do it. No, I'm just kidding.
I could, work out
Yes,
some
I
do
could
some.
I could always use it the way that my computer's set up. It's just I feel like
Yeah. I think everyone could benefit from some.
yeah.
Well, I like the idea. Like, so you were starting it like on, do it on a Friday, and that seems like a perfect way to lead into a weekend.
Yep, absolutely. And I know in my fitness classes, especially when we get into some of the stuff, like we'll run next week and the week after, and then we'll do some strength training. And so not everyone takes the time to properly cool down and to properly like reset. And so even just incorporating that in my class, it's like, okay, we ran this week, so let's just do some yoga and just relax. And then I'll try to be intentional about doing it before like midterms or like finals week. For 2 weeks before, we just do yoga and just do that stuff. So I try to be really intentional with that. And I've started adding it into my health and wellness class too. That has so many different topics, but I try to take the time, like spiritual wellness and physical wellness, emotional. It can, benefit all those. So
Yeah. I think all we need to add to that then is some pet therapy. And
Oh,
we've got
yeah.
like the whole relaxation structure.
Yeah. Project Strive does pet therapy.
Yeah.
During
Always good
finals
stuff.
week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brittany, what are some of your interests or hobbies outside work? I know we mentioned a few of them, but what else do you like to do?
Well, I really like to hike. We're a big hiking family.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah. Yep. That's kind of it. I like spending time with my family. I like going hiking. I like traveling around to different places in Northwest Nebraska and the Black Hills and stuff. And yeah, that's my only hobbies, I think. Taking care of 2 kids and a husband.
That keeps you busy enough, I'm sure.
I am very busy, yes.
Well, for those who don't know, Nebraska tourism does a passport. And we didn't do it last year, obviously, because of the pandemic, but we've done it a few years prior to that. And Brittany gets very competitive with
Check
the
'em all
Nebraska
off.
passport. And so it's actually a really fun thing to do, to kind of go around and see, because there's so many great things in our backyard, but obviously gatewide too. I just always remember how competitive you got with that. When we were in Kearney one day, she's like, "We got to hit one more."
Yeah.
Got to get those stickers. I think that year was a T-shirt, so
Yeah, we all got T-shirts.
everyone does it for the T-shirt.
Oh, yeah, it's totally understandable. And I got to say, those the Northwest Nebraska Trails Association. I'm full disclosure, I'm also on that. And the main reason I am is because I got a really slick, the lightweight T-shirt, long sleeve hoodie. That's very
yes,
nice.
thanks for that.
Yep.
nwnebraskatrails.com.
And we'll put
That's our
that in the
website.
description too.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Yeah, it's a great organization. The cleaning the trails, that one that we did south of campus there helped out Lucinda and stuff. It was awesome. And then if you ever have an opportunity to go hiking with Steve Rolfsmeyer,
We got some knowledgeable people.
oh my gosh,
Plant
it's so great.
identification.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so great. So there's a lot of cool opportunities.
Yeah. Well, let me just plug that for a minute
Sure.
because it is only, January? So this whole year, we plan to do a lot of stuff. I talked about the Cowboy Trail, but, we have a member who's really interested in doing like hiking with kids and leading some of that stuff. And then I know Daniel especially likes the maintenance days. We clean barbed
nothing
wire.
better than pulling barbed wire around.
Yes. So we're going to do maintenance days, and I think we'll do a lot more like group hikes and bike rides to just try to explore trails together. There are so many, like in this little trails guide that you can find at the chamber, there are so many trails out there that I don't think a lot of people explore. Like even we haven't even done them all. And so getting a group together makes it a little more comfortable. And
it's one of those fun works in progress. I know for me personally. Well, let's go into our quick hitting questions, because I'm going to add one to the top of the list here. That is, at this point in time, what's your favorite local trail?
Ooh. Honestly, for me, I love the trails behind the college.
Right.
And I think maybe for me just now, it's because it's the most accessible. So I can just walk my dogs from my house up to the trails.
Oh, yeah.
I think Tara mentioned this in her podcast, but we walk together usually once a week. And so we just hit all the trails up there. You can climb up Sea Hill. You can go to the Labyrinth now. You can go, behind the range building. So I would say that's probably my favorite system now.
Yeah, that really accessible too.
Yes,
Very nice.
Yes, absolutely.
That or the mountain bike trail that you tried to kill me on this summer.
That's a work in progress as well.
We won't tell people where that is.
Do not venture there.
Oh, no.
It's not all my fault,
No, I took a bad turn.
Yeah, it's okay.
I haven't heard anything. I don't know.
Brittany, what's a favorite movie of yours?
I don't know if I really have a favorite movie. We were talking about this, I don't really rewatch movies. But right now I've been rewatching the movie Encanto a lot because my kids love it. My daughter loves it. And
That means you have to love it.
that means I have to, but it's really catchy. So that's probably it.
Yeah, it's not. There's worse ones for sure.
Definitely.
All right. A favorite stretch or exercise?
My favorite exercise is probably cycling. I do like a spin bike and just like different workouts on there, whether it's like with a YouTube or like Apple Fitness, but just, that's a good cardio workout.
That might be a good follow-up. I'm sure you probably have people ask you a lot, like, well, what are your fitness recommendations, or what should I do? You mentioned cycling, and I know that you do it indoors, but I think that's probably a readily available thing for a lot of people. You can go to the pack, or maybe even you have something at your own house. But what do you like to do? You said YouTube and Apple TV?
Yeah,
or Apple Fitness, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Apple Fitness. So I know that I could work out on my own, but I don't always like to work out on my own. And even just like with a trainer, like watching somebody is how I prefer to do it. So I have a trainer I follow on YouTube, and she does cycling where you're doing it to music, you're kind of bumping along, and then you're doing exercises while you're on the bike, and that's really fun. And then with Apple Fitness, there's trainers who do it there in kind of a group setting. But yeah, I would say if whatever your interest is, there's somebody out there who has a video about it or can introduce you to it, or you can follow it.
Yeah.
And if you can't get to a class, when there's not a lot readily available in Chadron, Nebraska, YouTube, iPad.
Yeah, the cool thing I've noticed, a lot of those apps have 1 month free, or first week free, so you can kind of test it out, which is nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like if you're cycling, people think you need a Peloton app, and you need a Peloton to be able to do that, and that's not really the case.
You don't have to spend the money on that.
Don't have to spend the money on that. There's, we found a way to do it that works for us, and that's
definitely helps.
Mm-hmm.
What's next? I think it's yours, Alex.
What's a hidden talent?
I don't know.
What's your
answer?
answer?
I can hyperextend my arm. So when I shoot a basketball, it goes like that.
Aha, there we go.
It's not really a talent. It's the only thing I could think of that people don't know. So
I was going to say
good.
that I think that you're pretty talented at drawing.
Oh.
Because our son will always ask me to draw stuff, and it's terrible. But Brittany can actually do it. She pulls it off. So
Thank you. Yes.
that's what I think. That's your hidden talent.
I appreciate that.
Good work.
Thank
Good
you.
work.
Yeah.
I'm going to have you do a sketch for me. All
Okay.
right. How many times have you been to the top of Sea Hill?
Ooh, I was trying to figure this out, and I don't know. I want to say maybe like around 100 times. Like, I know that sounds like a lot, but in the 9 years that I've been here, you know, especially in the last couple of years, it's a good workout. You know, you get your heart racing. Like, all you have to do is just start going up there, and then you can go hike around. So, you know, if I did that.
The false summit always gets me.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
On Sea Hill. You know, you get up to the sea, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, you think like the top of the sea is done, and
that.
no, it's not. No.
And our dog Stoney feels the same way.
He does. He does. It's beautiful, though. I mean, like,
That's great.
come on, you can see the Black Hills, you can see the Beaver Wall. Like, it's really cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
Brittany.
you're up again.
What is one word that comes to your head when you think of Chadron State College?
I would say homey, home. Like, you know, I know that for a lot of students, Chadron is their home away from home, that some students go to college, you know, without that support, and they find it here, or they find their people here, and they feel supported by the entire campus. At least that's how I would hope that students feel, because that's the perception that I get. But yeah, I would say home. Not like homies, but home.
I was picking it up.
Yeah, you guys got it? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, Brittany, thanks again for coming on to the FARcast with us.
Thank you for
Always
having
good
me.
to talk to you.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll see you out on the trails.
All right. I'll let you know when the next maintenance day is.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.